There's nothing more frustrating than bringing a new dog home or having a dog and getting chickens, and then that dog that you love starts attacking your chickens, because it becomes a really challenging thing. You want to be able to be self-sufficient, you want to have chickens, you want to have eggs, and then your dog keeps attacking them or even killing them in the worst cases, and you need to know something to do about it. Well, I have a few pointers that you can take away, and something that really helped me and stopped all dog attacks on any of my chickens, which I've had 2 dogs fully go after chickens, and this one trick has worked on both of them. But before we go into that, we really have to identify the dog's role and what you want from the dog, because this method isn't going to work if you want to use this dog as a livestock herding dog. And if you want that dog to herd your chickens, then this might detour them from even herding. That is a whole different issue, and I have a training video which I did for a very young border collie, posted a little bit ago. It's just the beginning session of that. Training a dog to be a herding dog is going to be much different than it is training a herding dog and honing in on those aspects to where you want the dog to chase the animals but not eat the animals is a totally different thing. So if that's what your goal is, avoid what I'm about to teach you, but this may still be some good advice for any other dog that you're having on your farm that you want chickens to be safe around. I also have to address a huge myth, and that is that if a dog tastes blood or tastes a chicken, you'll never be able to get them to stop. They will always still attack the chickens. You might as well sell your dog, get rid of your dog, or don't have chickens, or the animal it's attacking, because it's just not worth it. The dog will never be able to be fixed. But that is not true in the slightest. Now, obviously, there are different types of dogs with different behaviors and different characteristics. So the way that I was able to train both a livestock guardian and a border collie that I'm not gonna have herd chickens is with a collar. Now, for those of you who don't like pain methods, I don't either, and I don't use the shock aspect of this, and it still works. But I needed one of these collars because dogs on property are generally much further away from you, and they'll be opportunistic when it comes to going after your animals. So before we even get to the point of putting on a collar, we should be considering whether that dog should be locked up during the day or loose. So when it comes to how I roll on this is I'm very free flowing, where I just like things to just be out in the open, roam around, and I'm fully fenced in. So when it comes to having most of my animals just roam, I'm okay with it. My alpacas go wherever they want. My dogs, I generally like to go wherever they want. And same thing with all my chickens. Cows are a different story, but when it comes to some of these animals, I like to free roam them. So having them locked up is a challenge for me, but that would have been the case if I didn't work from home. If I didn't work from home, when I'm not around my animals, I would have had to lock up my dogs while I'm training. So this is one crucial step that you really need to take. So before putting a shock collar on, make sure you're locking up that animal when you're not around, because you want to have eyes on your dog in order to train them properly. If you're just free flowing and your dog has those tendencies to go after livestock, you're just letting the dog hone in that behavior deeper and deeper, and then it's going to be harder to train them out of it. So it doesn't matter how old this dog is at this point, if you can't keep a hold of your dog and have eyes on it continually, lock it up or lock the chickens up until you're around them so that you can visually see the behavior and correct it. When it comes to larger property, if we are home and we are visually monitoring the behavior, I like to have one of these on. And I don't even use the vibrate on here. I just use the sound, the beeping sound. So when it's on the dog's neck, I do look, the rubber is still on them because I don't take the rubber off. I don't even want to chance it. I do not shock them. I take it as though my dogs are my friends. All of my animals here, I really try to treat respectfully as though they are my children. I don't see animals as my children. I'm not somebody who calls dogs my children. But my point is, I really try to respect them. I wouldn't want to be shocked. And just like kids, they aren't doing something wrong to be wrong. They're doing it just because we need to train them through what is right and wrong. So we just need to understand dogs have a prey drive, and especially chickens that move really fast, or guinea fowl, they have a drive to just chase after them. Now we'll start, not all dogs will go after the chickens or the guinea fowl and try to kill them and eat them. A lot of the times they just go and catch them and end up licking the fowl or the chicken, and in that process chickens almost have a natural response to just have a heart attack and die a lot of the times without ever getting any puncture wounds. But if a dog grabs a chicken or a guinea fowl, they will just lick it a lot of the times, and then that chicken, out of fear or just a response, will die, and the dog didn't even get any teeth in it. And it's just a way of life with these things a lot of the times. But as they're chasing the animal, that's when I buzz the dog, or beep the dog, really. This says to them, hey, don't do that. And most of the dogs don't like that noise when it's on their necks. So it immediately stops them. That's why I don't have to do anything else other than beep, because the dogs just naturally don't like it anyway. If they didn't and you had to resort to a buzz, then that's a different scenario. And I'm not going to be naive and say that all dogs this is going to work on, because if you have a dog that's prey drive is just way too high, you may have to put a shock on it. Because honestly, if you want to be able to keep your dog and keep your animal safe, and it's a dog that's attacking animals, you may just have to resort to that shock. But the point is, the dog's going to be far enough away from you where you're not going to be able to get hands on it, and it's going to be chasing after an animal. And what you're going to do is give it that beep or the buzz. Again, try not to shock, but give it the beep or the buzz, and they'll stop. It won't take long. The dog will understand very quickly, I didn't like that. And that happened when I was chasing the animal. And this should very quickly stop the animal from chasing stop your dog from chasing the animal. I say animal broadly because this would work even more than just for chickens. So that is the case. Now, the reason why I said if you want a herding dog, and this is not beneficial for a herding dog, because you're teaching the animal that using their instincts to push and move stock is a bad behavior, and that is something you don't want to do. You actually want to encourage that behavior when it comes to a livestock, not a livestock guardian, but that's what I was about to say, but a dog that is a herding dog. So if you have a blue heeler or a border collie, which I have, and you want to encourage that behavior, don't buzz them. That is a totally different thing. To address some other rumors that I've seen, I have seen some other people say that it's okay to take your dog on a leash, walk them in between the animals, and say, no, these are my animals, not your animals. Stuff like that. But to be honest, the dog doesn't fully know English, and it's not going to know exactly what you're talking about. A dog, the best way to train a dog is by reacting or showing a reaction to their action. So if you want them to sit, you first have to get them to sit and then praise the sitting. He just sat because I said the word, in order for them to understand it. I can't just say the word enough times for them to understand what it means. We have to train them based off of their behavior. So I have to catch the dog in the act of chasing the chickens or the livestock in order to train them out of it. Funny enough though, there is a saying, if you yell words at a border collie enough, they'll eventually learn what you're saying. But that's only for border collies, really. But if I cannot stress enough, if you can't be around your animal for extended period times of the day, and you're leaving your home or you're going to work and you won't trust your animal, you've got to lock it up. You've got to keep it away from that livestock, even if you feel mostly comfortable, unless you're totally positive that that dog is not going to chase those animals or not going to attack those animals anymore. They have to be away, because you have to be able to behavior modify. You have to be able to catch them in the act in order to train them out of it. Even if they've already gotten chickens and guinea fowl or other animals many times before, you have to be able to catch them in the act in order to fully stop them from doing it. Now, when it comes to it, I don't know what kind of brand this is. I didn't want to make this about the device I'm using, but I did specifically find one that has long range. That's why this is a little bit bigger than you might see other devices, and that's because we've got about 24 acres that the dog can roam. We've got trees blocking the signal, we got a hill. There's other scenarios to where most of the clickers and the neck devices won't connect for, I think it's only for like 300 feet away, which is not enough at all for me to properly communicate with the dog that they're doing something wrong, especially when it's like 5 acres away. Now, I have a lot of experience with these different types of necklace buzzing situations, because I used to have a dog that was 100% deaf. She was a border collie, and the only way that I could communicate with her when not looking at her eyes was to give her a little buzz, because the beeping she was 100% deaf. She was born deaf. Obviously the beeping didn't work. So I've experimented with a lot of these devices, and most of them out there do not have a long enough range on property that is substantial in size. Even just 3 acres, you'd probably find a difficulty because the range on them is not great. So if this is the route you want to take, and I highly suggest this is the way you should go, find something with longer range. If you're curious what this is, I'm gonna have to look this up and put it down in the description. No affiliation with this, it's just what I have found to work, and you can have 2 dogs on one channel, 2 dogs on one remote, and it will work perfect for being able to do that. And the buttons, it's just really easy. I can turn up and down the not the volume, but the buzz amount. And I can also, sorry, freaking them out. So I can turn up and down the buzz amount. I can also make the beeping noise, and very easy and intuitive. Honestly, some of them are not easy or intuitive, and they're hard to do. I can even, something nice about this one is I can even buzz both dogs at the same time, which is something I actively need, especially if you have 2 dogs, both of them going after the livestock that you don't want them to. So you can buzz both of them. And that's what I do. So hopefully this helps, because I know that there's a lot of people out there who have this trouble and they don't want to get rid of their dogs. So hope that helps, and I will see you next time.